Hi, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Student Spotlight series, where we showcase some of the work our past students have done. My name is Michael Tong, and I'll be your host today. And today we'll be interviewing Elizabeth Hong. So please tell us a little bit about yourself, where you're from, what year of school you're in, and a little bit about the course you took with CCIR.
So I'm currently a junior attending Innovation Academy, which is located in Alpharetta, Georgia. And I was in the course of neuroscience with Dr. Carnicer. And my project was over dysphagia, dysphonia in Parkinson's disease.
So just to clarify, this was part of the Future Scholars Program, right?
Yes.
Okay. So can you say a little bit about how you became interested in the program?
So I've always wanted to do research, especially since Cambridge is such a nice and prestigious university. And through some research, I found CCIR and I read through it and I really thought it resonated with what I wanted to do.
Mm-hmm. Can you say a little bit more about what resonated with you?
So I really like the curriculum and how it's really personalized for you, especially that each class doesn't have, or each course doesn't have more than 5 students. And it was really easy to talk to the professor or TA, and I felt like CCR did a really nice job of making sure they provided everything for us.
Mm-hmm. So can you say a little bit more about maybe how the course was structured? I mean, you say that, I guess you were saying that you liked how everything was provided for you. What were the different resources that you had access to and how kind of were they presented?
So for the first maybe 3-4 weeks, it was mainly the professor and TA teaching us about our course. So in this case, we were learning a lot about like the brain and neuroscience. And in the TA classes, we were learning coding. And I like that it was structured like that since it provided us some background knowledge before we actually started our own research. And CCIR I like how they had a Google form where it was easy to access any literature that was blocked by paywall or institution. And they were just really supportive. If I ever had a question or a problem, I could email them and they'd reply really fast.
So can you say a little bit more about your project? So earlier on, it was sort of coursework and then it shifted towards an individual project, right?
Yes.
How was that transition? What did you end up working on and how did you kind of develop your topic?
So through the first 4 weeks learning about the brain, I really was interested in neurodegenerative disorders. And eventually I decided I wanted to research about Parkinson's disease, specifically about dysphagia, dysphonia, and some implications or treatments that could be done for it.
Mm-hmm. So how did you come up with that topic? I mean, did you get some support from your instructor or TA, or did you come in already interested in that?
I guess it was a little bit of both. They definitely provided a good foundation for me, and I guess I knew I wanted to research about some sort of brain disorder. I originally wanted to research schizophrenia, but after talking with Dr. Carnicer and the TA, I decided that I think Parkinson's disease is more of a interesting research topic for me.
Can you say a little bit more about what made Parkinson's especially interesting?
I guess that it can happen to anyone, and it's pretty prevalent through our society nowadays. And I guess it's just a current issue that we face right now.
And what did the key insights or takeaways end up being from your project?
Definitely just learning how to write a quality research paper, and also setting up timelines and goals since CCIR was only ran for about 12 weeks, I think. So getting everything done in time, just writing the paper itself, getting feedback, little details like how my tone was when I was writing, grammatical things, and creating data tables and graphs.
So those are all really important things, and maybe in this case, the most important things. But I guess I just wanted to know also a little bit about like the topic itself. What did you learn about Parkinson's?
Oh, the topic itself, yeah. So I learned that there's a lot of treatments that people try to use for Parkinson's, but one of the most effective ones that I researched was it's called LSVT or Lee Silverman treatment, and it's considered the gold standard right now. And it basically consists of doing therapy to strengthen the muscles in your throat. And especially because many Parkinson's disease patients have issues with swallowing and talking loudly. So that's where dysphagia and dysphonia come from. And yeah.
I see. So I guess you said it's sort of the gold standard for treatment, right? But
Yes.
is it, are you just treating the issues that have to do with weakening of the muscles in the throat, or are there other sort of, cascading impacts from, I guess, from dealing with that one specific area?
So being unable to swallow or speak properly itself is already an issue with life quality, but also if you're unable to swallow well, there comes an issue with just eating or food in general, and that could actually be a life or death situation, especially when it comes to choking, if you have the inability to swallow all of that. And for dysphonia, it's more of a quality of life thing, being unable to communicate with others.
I see. So it's pretty targeted then. I mean, deeply
Yes,
important.
definitely.
Very targeted. I understand better. So I guess, do you have a sense of how, or in what way did you intend to contribute to the literature on the subject, or what sort of area were you trying to kind of push a little further in?
So specifically with the vocal cord and throat area, I was really interested in that part since most of the literature I was reading and researched specifically focuses on other areas instead of dysphagia and specifically dysphonia. There's not much research done on dysphonia itself. So that's why I really wanted to contribute to that specific sector.
I see. Yeah, that does seem like a really important contribution then. So do you have any sense of what you would want to do if you were to continue working on this project, or do you have any kind of plans to continue the research?
So my research paper is more of a literature review, reading from different sources and compiling data together. If, however, I want to take another step and collect data myself, especially with like interviewing Parkinson's disease patients and maybe monitoring progress over time using LSVT and just seeing the effectiveness of that treatment. And maybe just continuing in the dysphonia direction, since, as I said, there's not much right now currently on the internet about it.
I see. So I know you already talked about this a little bit, but maybe we can turn a bit again towards the sort of practical process of doing research. Can you say a little bit more about, I guess, what the stages of your project were, maybe what kinds of methods you used, and maybe also what kind of support you received in doing that?
Okay, so in the beginning, it was more of just learning, as I said before, with the 4 weeks of learning context, how the brain works, the little biology details of everything. After we had, I think, around 1, 2 weeks of just deciding what topic we wanted to do and running it through with the professor and TA and getting their opinions on it. I'd say I finished finalizing my topic around week 4 or 5 since I had a vague idea of what I wanted to do. The next few weeks were just next 2, 3 weeks I spent outlining my paper and just making a draft and getting feedback on it, such as I should include a data table here, I should include methodology and whatnot. And the last few weeks were just writing the paper itself. I think in this case, it's really helpful to have a timeline set up or a calendar since it'll hold you accountable for everything. And I've had a lot of support in every step of the stage, especially with the writing itself, since I would come into writing blocks sometimes and just not know what to say. But I definitely received a lot of support in like guiding me in the right direction and just correcting maybe some errors I had.
So what do you think the most challenging part of that process was? What do you think the biggest challenge you faced was?
I think it's just choosing the topic itself and specifically what you want to research about, since you'll be spending the next weeks just honing in on that topic. It's really important to choose something you're actually interested in and something that's not over researched. Maybe something that's pretty prevalent and just something interesting to you is just the most important part of it.
Definitely. I feel like if you're really interested in your topic, the work doesn't feel too hard.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. And definitely you know, like in the future, sometimes like doing research, choosing a project means committing like years of your life to something. So yeah, it is really important to pick
Yeah,
something
exactly.
this year. Um, so do you have any plans for sort of publishing the paper or
Mhm.
taking it to conferences?
So I actually recently applied to the Columbia Junior Science Journal, and I'm waiting to hear if I got accepted or not. But I'm definitely interested in publishing my paper in some in some publication.
Mhm. And I mean, I guess I don't know for sure, but I assume this is your first experience with like the publication process.
Yes, it definitely is. Yeah.
Yeah. How have you found it, or what kind of support have you gotten with that?
Originally, I emailed Dr. Carnister actually, since I wasn't sure like what journals I should look for or where I should try to get published, and he definitely helped with um, providing me some, first of all, just feedback on my paper, as well as providing different journals he'd recommend me to publish. And I also learned a lot about publishing in general, such as you can't apply to multiple journals at once with the same paper, which I didn't know before. And also, some journals require you to format it in a certain way and only be a certain length, while others have a different standard for that.
Mhm. Yeah, it's a confusing process for
Mhm.
sure. And there are a lot of rules to follow that aren't immediately obvious. Do you feel like this is something that you want to keep doing in the future? Like, do you see yourself going on to do research as an undergraduate, or even going to graduate school and academia?
Yeah, yes, definitely. I think research is really fundamental, especially in science or STEM itself. And I want to pursue in the future a career in science, definitely. And I honestly just really enjoy doing research in general. It, I guess it helps me feel more well rounded, and I just enjoy learning new things.
Yeah, definitely. Do you feel like the program's prepared you well to keep doing research?
Yeah, definitely. It was, considering it was my first time doing real research, it provided the stepping stones and guided me throughout the entire time.
That's good. So definitely, I guess you feel more confident with taking on similar projects in the future.
Yeah, 100%.
So, do you have any advice that you would give someone coming into the program who also is coming in with little or no research experience?
I would say definitely utilize the resources they give you. Talk to the professor or TA as much as possible. Read a lot, do a lot of reading about any of the topics that you're interested in, and just have an open mind for everything.
So, do you have any final thoughts about the program or your experience that you want to share?
Um, I really enjoyed it, and I would definitely recommend this for any other high schoolers interested in research. And I think the experience it gives is really invaluable. I just really enjoyed it in general.
I'm really glad to hear that. Yeah, I TA'd for a Future Scholars program before, and I also found it to be a really rewarding experience. I think that
Mm.
the ability that the program gives you to really like work closely with the professors and the TAs and people who are sort of actively engaged in research in the field is just so valuable.
Exactly. Yes.
So yeah, I'm glad you had a good experience. Well, yeah, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.